Hi there, this is Jacob Nash, and this is a review of Module 31, Memory Basics. So this is a new unit that we're doing now. So for memory, you got to know that there are 3 different steps for us to have memory. Now, I should have put this in the slideshow, but we got to remember that at first things go in the hippocampus, then the cerebellum. But anyways, you got to know the 3 steps. So the first step is encoding. So we're just like, okay, what's the meaning of this thing? And that's just processing. It's all right. For example, like I'm going to use a box, like pretend like the box is the memory. We're interpreting what it is. What is it? Then it goes into storage, where we keep the information. And remember what I just said. And then retrieval. The third step is that we got to get it out of there sometimes. So what's your phone number? All right, get that out of there, right? You know what I mean? That's the 3 steps. Okay, so parallel processing. So we already have talked about this in Module 18, but let's review what that is. Well, it's how we process things like vision. Now, it doesn't apply just to vision, but in the case of vision, which is what that module is about, remember, it's a system that the brain divides what it sees into 4 components. They are individually analyzed and compared to stored memories, which helps the brain identify what you're viewing. So we just need to know that this is a way that we process things like vision, and it can be compared with other memories, basically. That's what you got to know, okay? And it might be also helpful, man, of course I don't remember which module it was in, because I like I said before, I've made these out of orders. So knowing your schemas, the word that's kind of hard for me to say, might also be useful to know, but I don't know if that's something that you might have learned yet. I should know the order, but I don't remember if that's something that comes before or after this, but it still is a good thing to know. All right, so let's talk about 3 types of memories that you need to know. We're going to talk about more types that are just like, and really types, it's kind of like the different stages of the memory almost. Like, I know I already said that what the stages were, that this is like the order that they go in, if that makes sense. We're going to talk about other kinds of memories later on. But there's sensory memory, working memory, and long-term. Now, working memory is what we call it now, but it might be a good thing to know that it used to be considered short-term memory, but we now like we consider working memory a more accurate name for it. So sensory information is just a quick, brief recording of sensory information in the memory system. So it's just quick, all right, done. So if you see that picture of Jim Carrey looking, let's say he's looking at something, all right, that's sensory memory. Then short-term or working memory, this is memory that can only have 5 to 9 items in it at once. You can, so 7 plus or minus 2. And so let's say that, I mean, well, I'll get to that in a second. And then the long-term memory is the relatively permanent memory that is in the limitless storehouse. So our more temporary memories, like I said, they are in the hippocampus, but once it's long-term memory, that's the cerebellum. And so here's the order that it would go. So there's some kind of event, you have the sensory memory, encoding, working memory. So let's say you see a billboard that says call Abraham Lincoln, and it has a phone number, and there's like some weird picture of him smiling. Okay, well, that's in your short-term memory, and you might even remember the phone number, 800-555-1792, all right? But then once it goes into your long-term memory, you might be able to remember that picture and that it said call Abe, but then I don't remember that phone number, because maybe that was too many things at once to be in the short-term memory. So you just got to know that's what there is. All right, now implicit and explicit memories. So these are two types of memories. So like, I know it might be kind of hard to understand, or like it's hard for me to explain, but I know I just said these were the types of memories. These are like the like types of like forms that they can be in, but these are like specific types of any of those. Like those are the three like forms that the memories can be in, and then these are just like types, if that makes sense. Uh so implicit memory is something that's without our awareness. So some things just happen to be in our memory, and it's a procedural memory. You got to know that word. Procedural memory. And it requires automatic processing. I don't know, I made that out of order, but anyways. So these three things connect, or these two things connect to implicit memories: automatic processing, procedural memory. It's something that we did not really we weren't aware of it becoming a memory, like riding a bike. I remember when I first learned to ride a bike, all of a sudden I was just like, wow, I can just do it now. It's like it's not like I tried to, but it just all of a sudden happened. And there's things like that. Explicit memory, though, is what most of them we might think of as that requires our awareness, just like remembering this, what you're learning right now. And it requires effortful processing, meaning we need to consciously try to remember it. Okay, and now let's talk about iconic and echoic memories. So iconic, this is talking about things that we can see. This lasts less than a second. And it's just both of these are momentary sensory information. The difference is that iconic is visuals, and then echoic is auditory. So if you think of like icon, that's usually a picture. Echo, that's a sound, right? Maybe that's a way you can remember it. And we're going to talk about some remembering things soon. But anyways, it's easier to remember the echoic ones because we can recall them for about 3 to 4 seconds. So let's say right now you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, like for whatever reason, you're tired or something. Then if someone just paused this video and they're like, what did Jacob Nash say? Then you might be able to tell, even though you weren't really listening, you might be able to tell them what I said in the last few seconds or something, you know? And then, but the visual one, it's not the same for that. It's less than a second. Not as easy to recall that. All right, chunking. So this is something that we automatically do, but it's also like a technique that we can use to study. It is organizing items in familiar, manageable units. So if you have like a list of, so for example, on this channel, I made, as of now, I didn't finish making the videos, but I was trying to make 552 AP US history videos to remember. Well, if you're trying to review for an exam, trying to do all 552 at once, that's going to be so hard to do. I think I only made like, I don't know, like 400 something. But if you break that into groups, so you're like, okay, so this is the before Revolutionary War time, all right, early 1800s, all right, late 1800s and Theodore Roosevelt days, in between the World Wars, after World War II, after Cold War, whatever. It's better to do things like that. That's chunking. Now, how would you divide this? So if you needed to remember this word, my mixed modules too long. My mixed modules too long. That's not very good to do. You might want to break that up into Myers makes the modules too long. That's why I make these videos, just so you know. Because this is just a side note, but my opinion, most things that you can learn are not as hard as they seem. You might say, I'm really bad at math, or I'm really bad at this, whatever. Well, probably why you say that is because it seems difficult to you. Maybe in the first place, you didn't have someone that could help you understand it. But most of us have the same capacity to learn, and it's sometimes all about the way that something's explained to you. That's exactly why I have so many different videos on here. If you ever need help with math, I have geometry, algebra, pre-calculus, What else? I don't know. I forget. I have some pre-calculus videos. I have AP Physics videos. I have AP Lang videos. I have AP US History videos. I have AP Statistics videos. Probably don't care. But I'm just saying, like, that's why I make these videos, because it's like sometimes it's just a way that something's explained. People say AP is so hard. It's like they want it to be hard. They're like, oh, let's try to make this confusing. I don't know. It's just some dumb like theory I have, but it's almost like they want people to do bad or something. Because no offense, but the AP daily videos suck. I'm just telling you. I've seen some of those. They suck. They hardly explain it at all. And most of the textbooks do the exact same thing. So anyways, moving on. All right. This word might seem like a very weird word. It might look like mnemonics or whatever, but it's just pronounced mnemonics. It's like one of those things. The M is there, but it's not really how you say it, like pneumonia or pneumatic. Wait, is that a word? That word that's like, or is it effing? No, it's not effing. I don't know. It's that thing that's like, that has to do with like hydraulic fluids or something. I don't know. That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with this. But mnemonics, that's how you pronounce that. Uh, this is a technique to aid with memory. So all four of these things you probably have learned. Just kidding, not the fourth one. If you know what the fourth one means, then that means you're very cool. Okay, but you probably know what the first three are. Maybe at least the first two. PIMDOS. So did you learn that? That's a way that you could remember back maybe like in elementary school how to solve something. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Not always that useful in my opinion though, because it could switch. Whatever. That's not the point of this. Foil. So you might have used the box method too, but foiling is the way that I learned it, of how you can multiply two things. I should probably be more specific, but two binomials. Well, they don't have to be binomials. I'm getting off track. Okay, what do you know? That's what these are, mnemonics. And then main. Maybe you remember the main causes of World War One. Did you learn that? Like Tom Ritchie or someone. Militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, and then YEM stands for you enjoy myself. An Italian person that did not know English very well in about like 1988 something, told that this person in the picture, when I'm around you, you enjoy myself. That's what he said. He told that to John Fishman and people like that, And also they said, wash your feet, said, so I can drive you to Francais, because he was walking around barefoot. That doesn't matter. But if you know what YM is, then that means you're cool. But you probably don't. That's mnemonics. All right, hierarchies. This is just a way that we can organize information that we learn. So maybe you have a higher up thing that's like, all right, AP psychology, and that you divide that into three things. My teacher, Myers, Mr. Jacob Nash. So you might say your teacher, they give me too much work. They're old. Myers is very old, and his modules are too long. Mr. Jacob Nash, easy to remember. I hope that's what you say. Your teacher might not be old. Your teacher might not give you too much work, and you might not dislike the Myers textbook. But I don't know if you had an easy time understanding it. I don't think you would click on this video. So, anyways, all right. These are two good things that you can do. Spacing and testing effects. So the spacing effect is the idea that when we space out information, we do better. Are you watching this before your AP psychology exam and you just start studying now, the day before? That might not be so good. Okay, all right. Not trying to stress you out if that's the position you're in. I know I've done things like that and still done fine. But research has shown that we can do better commonly, and the brain is less tired if we space it out. But we know that we don't want to do that, right? I know that I don't like doing things like that. I end up doing other things, right? You know, I wait till the last minute. That's the thing that I do, but I've done fine before, you know. All right, testing effect. Uh, it's better to retrieve information instead of rereading it. So that's exactly uh why it's good to maybe like here's what I know. The most effective way to study that I know of is to be a teacher. Now, so that means basically doing what I'm doing. May take more time, but it's guaranteed. I almost guarantee you that you will do better if you make a video of you talking about what you learned. Because that shows that you know it. If you simply just watch this video, you might do well watching it. But if you just like read the textbook or just look at things, are you really learning it? Or are you just kind of remembering the words but not what they mean? So that's what I suggest to you. If you really are trying to, are you looking to improve in any subject? I'm telling you, any subject. I have a proven fact. I mean, this has been proven for any subject for me that I have always done better if I did something just like this. When, in parentheses, or not parentheses, when, in quotations, I was in high school. So there you go. Shallow versus deep processing. All right, we gotta know two kinds of processing. Which one do you think's better? Just by the words. Shallow is encoding on a basic level. So this is just like, all right, let me just look at the Myers textbook. It says some long things. All right, I skim, you know, I see this. Oh, yeah, that's not so good to do. You probably won't remember it. But what about deep processing? That's if, like what I just said, if you teach your friend about it, your friend says, I don't understand, you teach them. Even if you don't know it yourself, that's like I've done things like this for years. I did, like I said, like, you know, and I would do it even when I wasn't even sure that I knew it. But that's why I was thinking, like, I'm not going to make a video if I don't know that I know it. So I got to make sure that I know it before I talk about it. And it's like, we have a certain pathway that our memories are stored in. I think, did we talk about that in Module 30? I think we'll talk about it soon. And I know that this video is going to be long because I keep talking about random things, but it's important. Just imagine like, let me try to think of an analogy. Walking through a maze. It's always going to be the same way you can get out of it, okay? That's kind of like the way that our memories are. It's the same way. If you go the same way, you'll find the same thing. So, like, if you watch a video of yourself talking about it, like even if you forgot something, like let's say you made a video about quadratic functions in September. All right, now it's December and your algebra exam's coming up. And you're like, I don't remember that. You watch the video, as soon as you hear yourself talking, it comes all the way back. It comes right back to you. I can prove this. I can't say that it works for every person, but it definitely worked for me. I would forget something, and then as soon as I heard myself talking about it, it would all come back. Like I was walking through the pathway back to that. Because it's like, if I once understood it in that way, then I can again. Because in most cases, memories are not like fully lost. They're kind of just hidden. You got to dust that off. You know what I mean? So this video, I know it's turning more into about like studying techniques, but this is definitely related to this. I mean, how do I know these things? How do we know these things? Because psychology has proven it. All right. Let's talk about episodic memory. So this is just a memory that contains details from a personal experience. location, how you felt, etc. So look at these two pictures. These two pictures are related to me. The one on the left I took many years ago. I don't really know how many years ago. I don't remember exactly what year. And then the right one I did not take, but I'm in it. And I was in grade 6 at the time. So let me see if I'm in it. Or I mean, let me see if I can find myself. I don't remember what I looked like then. I don't know. I'm not doing that right now. But anyways, let me tell you about both. How can I? Because these are episodic memories. So that's the point of why I'm doing this. And once again, I'm going to talk about something that I know that I didn't make a slide about, but it's going to be on the questions in a minute. So the one on the left, what does that picture look like to you? Well, I know what it is. It's some trash cans that are knocked down. Why? Because I remember that day that there was an insane windstorms, or whatever you would say. It was so windy, everything got knocked down. My family had a trampoline, got thrown in the woods and broken. We lived by a like farm sort of thing, whatever you would say. There is this there was a rooster named Fred that attacked me on multiple occasions, and I would play soccer with it. I would kick the ball to it, and it would hit it back to me. Now, I'm not saying it wanted to play soccer, but it kicked it back to me. And so it's an episodic memory. I can remember that I saw Fred. There's like a bunch of things that had blown into his coop. And so that's the way that I remember it. I remember how I felt. I felt because a lot of things got messed up. All right, and then the one on the right, I can remember how I felt. That was I'm not going to tell you, because then you might figure out just whatever. That was a baseball game that I went to, and I can remember how I felt, which was glad that I threw a chip. It's someone that was that commonly bullied me at the time at his eye. I threw a chip at his eye, because he threw a chip at me and I threw it back at him and hit him in the eye. Never did anything again. So there you go. Episodic memories. That's what these are, for me at least, not for you, because you weren't there. Ebbinghaus research. You might want to know this guy. Not that common on the AP exam, but might be on there, So this is like a medium importance to know. Like, not saying that you should know it, but you should know it for this unit. But if this is the final exam, this might not be if you're studying for the final exam, this might not be as necessary of a thing to know. So this guy determined that as time increases, ability to recall decreases dramatically. That's the key word. We obviously know that ability to recall decreases, but we got to know dramatically. It's like, look at that. It goes down. You might not be that good at reading graphs, but maybe at least can tell that. We're like, okay, I remember it. Don't. Like, for example, right now, what you're learning, you might remember it now, but like tomorrow or the day after that, you're gonna be way down there unless you revisit the information. And then it will kind of at least be like that. Like, oh, at least it doesn't keep going down that much. At least that. All right, some questions here. And anyways, what is the first stage in memory processing? Oh, that was all the way at the beginning of this video, remember? Hey. Oh, I didn't put on the things that make those go away. Okay, well, I didn't feel like doing that, so I know you can see all the answers. Too bad. What's the first stage? Remember, that's encoding. That's the one. And then we got storage and then retrieving, okay? Create an example of an episodic memory. Early, I always use early James as the examples. Okay. Early remembers when he heard that his friend Adrian got in a car crash in Birmingham and how surprised he was. Remember that last or 2 slides ago when I was rambling so much about those things? That's another thing. It's just some kind of personal experience that's significant to you. You might remember how you felt. You might remember where you were. Done. All right, create an example of procedural memory. Remember, that has to do with our implicit. And it's automatic processing. We don't have to think about that, right? Oh, sorry. I just hit some metal thing on accident. Early remembers how to ride a bike, but he has no conscious recollection. Honestly, that's the most common example. I'm trying to think what other example there could really be, but there's not that much other things that are like that. I mean, sometimes people try to say brushing your teeth, but I don't know. I mean, like, it's not that hard to do. That's not the same thing. Like, I'm trying to think of some other thing where it's like at first you can't do it, then you can. I worked at a worked parentheses. I mean, just whatever. At a car wash, and you would have to wrap up the vacuum hoses, and I'm getting off topic, but I'm trying to say this is another example of one of those procedural memories. It's like at first couldn't do it, but then I could, and it's like, how couldn't I at one point? It's not like I tried to learn how to do that. You would only know if you wrap up something like that. It's kind of hard to do. So memories about procedures or automatic skills independent of, so that means not requiring conscious recollection, is known as implicit memory. So that's pretty much like implicit memory is procedural memory in the relation. Semantic memory, what is that? Oh yeah, remember it's factual and conceptual knowledge about the world and words used to symbolize knowledge. So remember back on I might have not said it like I meant to. Going back. Did I already pass it? Yeah, I must have. Oh, come on. Oh, so yeah, deep processing, that means semantically. That's when we encode the meaning of the words, that's known as doing it semantically, okay? So that's what you got to know. It's just knowing the meaning of it, right? Long-term memory, this is considerably permanent and limitless memory that includes knowledge, skills, and experiences. Better recall for personally relevant information. So this is what I forgot to say. Self-reference effect. So if I say, for example, right here where I said Adrian got in a car crash. If you know someone that got in a car crash, you might remember this answer just for that reason. That's the self-reference effect. If it's something that's relevant to you, you are more easily able to remember it. What's the capacity for short-term memory? Remember, 5 to 9 items. Whatever item really means, but you need to know that it's 5 to 9 items. Like it's not disclosed what specifically an item means. You don't need to know that, but you just need to know that that's the capacity. What is organizing items into familiar, manageable units called? That's called chunking. This memory uses imagery, acronyms, rhyming, and chunking to assist in memory. So that's chunking is a form of mnemonics. Explain Hermann Ebbinghaus forgetting curve research. He determined that as time increases, ability to recall decreases dramatically, as shown in his graphs. Whoa, there we go, done. Thanks for watching.